Welcome, everyone. I'm calling the April 1st City Council meeting to order. And as a reminder to everyone here, we continue to have a remote aspect to our meeting. Both staff members and members of the public may be participating in tonight's meeting remotely via WebEx. I have a little informal addition to the agenda that I have reviewed with Council President. And if you will give me a few minutes, I'd like to show our gratitude to our city clerk for a recent accomplishment and award that she got. And yes, they smell amazing. I just wanted to take a moment at the beginning of our meeting to show appreciation to just the excellence in performance that some of our staff reach. And in particular, our clerk has just been rocking it. Not only we noticed here, but recently, City Clerk Tisha Gieser was awarded the 2024 Washington Municipal Clerks Association President's Award of Distinction. The award is presented to the WCMA member who has performed exceptionally in the workplace and made significant contributions both as a member of their municipality and for the association as well. In addition to her outstanding work in Issaquah, Tisha is very active in helping educate the clerks from around Washington, Oregon, and Alaska in meeting procedures and records management. Tisha serves the council and the Issaquah community exceptionally well. She truly enjoys supporting a deliberative body and does so in a highly professional, organized, supportive, and graceful manner. We are so fortunate that you are part of the team. We want to congratulate you and thank you, Tisha, for all that you do. There you go. Can I get a picture? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tisha. Well deserved. Thank you for letting me do that. It was an informal addition. So we will move on to the first item tonight, which is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I invite you all to join. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under special business this evening, we have several proclamations that council leadership and I will be presenting. And the first one, I'm going to have Deputy Council President Dee Michelle present ID 1692, Sexual Assault Awareness Month proclamation. And if Karen Sharp from King County Sexual Assault Resource wants to come up and join Barbara over here, that would be wonderful.
Thank you for being here, Karen. We are very, very pleased to be able to present this proclamation to you. So the proclamation, whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every person in this community. And whereas sexual assault is pervasive, every 68 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted in the United States. And whereas Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, people living in poverty, LGBTQ+ people, elders, people with disabilities, and others who have been historically oppressed are disproportionately affected by sexual violence in significant and complex ways. And whereas sexual assault is among the most underreported crimes for many reasons, but survivors who are already most marginalized face additional barriers to reporting, such as language, immigration status, or disability. And whereas ending sexual violence requires us to address racism, sexism, and all forms of oppression that contribute to the perpetuation of sexual assault. And whereas sexual violence exists on a continuum of behavior that includes racist, sexist, transphobic, homophobic, ableist, or other hate speech. This ranges from rape jokes to verbal harassment to physical assaults. And whereas, by working together as a community, we can alleviate the trauma of sexual violence by ensuring supportive resources are available to all survivors while standing up to and actively disrupting harmful attitudes and behaviors that contribute to sexual violence. Now, therefore, I, on behalf of Mary Lou Pauley, Mayor of the City of Issaquah, do hereby proclaim April 2024 to be Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the City of Issaquah, and I encourage all citizens to join me in this special observance and join advocates and communities across King County in taking action to prevent sexual violence. Together, we commit to a safer future for all children, young people, adults, and families in our community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and seal of the City of Issaquah this first day of April 2024. And I know Karen has a few words for us, so I'll let you.
Thank you so much. My name is Karen Sharp. I'm a resident here in Issaquah, and I'm also the Chief External Relations Officer at King County Sexual Assault Resource Center. And I'm here to accept the Sexual Assault Awareness Month proclamation on behalf of our organization. Thank you. Thank you all for being part of the solution. To survivors in our community, I want to say you're not alone. As you heard, sexual assault is common. Half of women and 1/3 of men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime. People from marginalized communities, people whose disabilities, race, ethnicity, gender, or sexual identities are at even greater risks. Chances are you know someone who has been sexually abused. The trauma of sexual assault can affect a survivor's mental, physical, and behavioral health, their ability to form healthy relationships, remain in school or in the workplace, and so much more. But recovery from sexual assault is possible with support. KSARC, the organization I work at, has assisted more than 4,800 individuals, survivors, and their family members in 2023. Almost half of KSARC clients are teens and children. We know young people are most vulnerable to sexual assault and the least likely to speak up about it and be believed when they do. I want our community I want to let our community know that a free and confidential help is available to survivors or anyone who needs information about sexual assault. Our 24-hour resource line is a good starting place, 888-99-VOICE. We always say we can't change what we can't talk about. And I want to say thank you so much for your leadership and your willingness to be loud against sexual assault. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. And now if you guys can get a picture, that would be great. Thank you, Deputy Council President, and thank you, Karen, for joining us tonight. The next item under special business, I will be asking Council President Walsh to present ID 1590, Public Safety Telecommunications Week Proclamation. And I'd like to invite Police Communications Manager Tricia Belize and some of her team, and Police Chief Schwan to the podium with Council President.
Well, while they are making their way up here, I am honored to present this proclamation. We not only rely heavily on this team, but are super proud of having our own dispatch and our own group that really knows our community, our officers, all of that really well. I have called in many a time to report things and have always received incredibly professional response, and I know that's the way that our community experiences it as well. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Issaquah Communication Center. And whereas professional public safety telecommunicators are a vital link for our community and are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Issaquah Communications Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals. And whereas our dispatchers exhibit compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job. Now, therefore, I, Lindsay Welsh, on behalf of Mary Lou Pauley, Mayor of the City of Issaquah, do hereby proclaim the week of April 14th to 20th, 2024, to be Public Safety Telecommunications Week in the City of Issaquah, and I invite the community to join me in thanking Issaquah dispatchers for their service and outstanding contributions. Thank you. Would you like to make a comment, anyone?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council, for the proclamation. Our dispatch was not here so much a couple of years ago, and someone that was instrumental in bringing it back and being a lifeline for our officers and being here for our community was Communications Manager Trisha Belize. She's been with the city for 10 years, and in the last 2 years has been huge in bringing it back and staffing and putting things in place that make sure that they are very effective and making a lot of changes that were necessary for us to continue in providing great service. So I'm going to let her say a few words as well.
I want to shine a spotlight on the often overlooked but incredibly important group of individuals, our 911 telecommunicators. Those individuals are the calm voices on the other end of the line during some of the most chaotic and terrifying moments. When we're in distress, when our safety or the safety of our loved ones is on the line, who do we turn to? It's the 911 dispatcher who answers the call with poise, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to those in need. These dispatchers gather crucial information, assess the situation, and dispatch the appropriate help, all within a matter of seconds. Their quick thinking, clear communication can mean the difference between life and death. They are calm in the storm, providing reassurance and guidance to callers who may be in the midst of the worst moments of their lives. Their work is demanding, both emotionally and mentally, yet they continue to show up every day ready to serve. I am very excited to announce this last year that the state of Washington now recognizes the telecommunicators as first responders. Prior to this decision, they were classified as secretarial staff. As all of you know, this last few years we have done an extreme amount of hard work to rebuild dispatch. It is no exaggeration that I feel very fortunate to work alongside this team we have built. In this fast-paced and unpredictable world of dispatching, having a great team by my side has been invaluable. Thank you for all the continued support to our telecommunicators. Chief, specifically, thank you for always being an advocate for us. This is my 10th year with the city. I bring that up because I drive from Arlington, which is 52 miles each way. I pass multiple dispatch centers on the way to work, and I stay here because of the people. I brought a couple of staff members with me. I'll have them introduce themselves and how long they've been here, as well as been dispatchers. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shafiq Zarif. I've been dispatching for 12 years and been with the City of Issaquah for about 2.
I'm Karina Keene. I've been a dispatcher for 15 years and been with Issaquah for 2.5.
And I'm Ryan Roulard. I'm in my 3rd year in the profession and approaching 6 months here, and thank you for all your support and keeping us right here at home.
That is so nice to hear from you all. Thank you, Council President. Thank you, team. And if we could do a picture with all of you, that would be great. Thanks for all that you do. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Council President. For the last item under special business, I'm going to invite Urban Forest Supervisor Dan Hintz to the podium to present. I will be presenting ID 1592, the Arbor Day Proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day will be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And the anniversary of the holiday and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees produce life-giving oxygen, provide habitat for wildlife, beautify our city, increase property values, and enhance economic vitality, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal, and whereas the city of Issaquah is an active Tree City USA designee for 31 years, and the city of Issaquah celebrates Arbor Day year-round with many events to enhance and expand our tree canopy. And whereas the city of Issaquah is celebrating its annual Arbor Day this Saturday, April 6, 2024. Now therefore I, Mary Lou Pauley, the mayor of the city of Issaquah, do hereby proclaim that Issaquah celebrates Arbor Day and carries that spirit through our activities, policies, and priorities all year long. I urge all citizens to celebrate and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens, that's the same one, to plant trees and create a healthier community and to promote well-being for future generations. We do have an event this Saturday as well, and maybe Dan can tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you, Mayor Pauley. Thank you, Council, for having me here tonight. As Mayor Pauley mentioned, this Saturday, April 6th at Confluence Park from 9 a.m. to noon is our Issaquah Arbor Day celebration. We'll be doing the last tree planting of the season, spreading some wood chips, removing invasive species, everyone's favorite activities out in our parks. And also, as you heard in the proclamation, this marks our 31st year as a Tree City USA community. That is actually tied for the 8th most years in Washington State of almost 100 communities. So pretty impressive. And I think that really speaks to this awesome legacy we have in our community of both conserving, land, natural lands, and restoring and reforesting those areas too. So really excited to celebrate that tradition. Anyone that can attend would be great. I think Mayor Pauley, we're going to see you out there, which is hopefully a good plug to show up to. And I just want to speak for a quick minute or two. Another anniversary. It's been just over a year since my position, the urban forest. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I think it's also a good opportunity to just look at some of the great stuff we've accomplished here in the last year as we've been building out this urban forest program. Hopefully most of you are aware, I'm pretty sure council is, since they're, approved the funding for this, but we are developing our first urban forest management plan here in Issaquah. And that's really going to develop a shared vision of our urban forest, how we want to see that moving forward. We'll draft, high-level goals, strategies, recommendations for, sustainable growth and management of our forests. So we are currently in the community engagement phase for that process. We have a public survey open. I know some of you have been able to take that. That's open to April 14th. So we're really trying to get that out there. We already have almost 200 responses, and it's just been open for 7 to 10 days. And then we really hope to have those kind of draft strategies, goals, recommendations here in the spring. And I'd love to bring that back to council or the appropriate committee for council too here before we get too far along in that process, but should have that all published here towards the end of summer is the goal. Green Issaquah program has really taken off too. Hopefully everyone's familiar with that, but that's our volunteer program that's, doing this hands-on stewardship in our parks, our 1,700 or so acres. And we blew away our 2023 goal for volunteer hours that was in our Green Issaquah 20-year implementation plan. We surpassed that by almost 1,000 hours with about 3,300 hours of volunteer service in our community last year across 65 events. Big kudos for the city to invest in a Green Issaquah volunteer coordinator. Taylor Nichols has been huge at increasing that capacity. Same with leaning on community partners like Issaquah Alps Trails Club, Mountains of Sound Greenway Trust, Trout Unlimited, and the Lake Sammamish Urban Wildlife Refuge Partnership have been a new partner leading events for us regularly throughout the year too. So really exciting to see Green Issaquah pick up here, and we're really trying to promote educational events too, maybe for people that aren't able or as interested in doing the physical hands-on volunteer work too. So we had almost 30 environmental education events last year with about 320 people from the community, about a third of those being youth members in our community. A couple quick stats I'll throw out there too before wrapping up is last year we planted over 23,000 trees. About 90% of that was our Lower Issaquah Creek project that our Public Works team, Alan Quinn, really did a great job leading, but still amazing. Those are trees going into our parks and open spaces. This year, in 2024 alone, we're already over 2,000. Big thanks to our forest stewards, our dedicated volunteers that are leading their own volunteers doing this type of work. We've had a few planting events with them, and our Washington Conservation Corps crew that we work with for 2 months the start of each year. So they've gotten a ton done, and then kudos to our parks operations team. We've pruned over 800 trees in our city so far this year. for tree health, visibility, clearance, all those things that we need to have a well-functioning city here. That about doubles our total from last year, and it was great to kind of kick off that last fall with the tree pruning course that myself and my colleague Christy Bishop with our Parks Operations team helped facilitate with Plant Amnesty. Last but not least, our Heritage Tree Program, we're really looking at relaunching. It's a program that's been around for a couple decades, but dormant for most part of the last decade. Really celebrating some of the unique individual trees we have here in Issaquah. So we're really looking to relaunch that this summer. We've had a few meetings with the Park Board to kind of update some of the processes for that. And something I'm really excited about working on with the Snoqualmie Tribe and their new tribal forester on culturally modified trees. They're really interested in Issaquah being a leader and an example for how we work with culturally significant trees for our indigenous tribes. So really exciting stuff. I'm really excited to go into my second year here, and really thanks for all the resources you've invested in this program.
Dan gets really excited about almost everything to do with trees, but that is an amazing body of work to do in a year. And this is, the launch of a new program. I'm just so proud of the team and so proud of Dan. Thanks all. Have a nice night. So the next item this evening is we're going to move into audience comments, and this is the time that members of the public may address council in person or virtually. Those who signed up in advance will be called on first, and if you're joining us virtually and you would like to make comments, please raise your virtual hand so that our host can see it or send a message. If you're in the room and did not sign up, before we close it, I will ask for other speakers. And City Clerk, who has signed up this evening to speak for, has anyone signed up this evening to speak for general audience?
Yes.
Thank you. For those making comments, you are invited to address the council regarding matters that are directly related to Issaquah's programs, projects, services, or events. Please direct your comments to the whole council and not individuals. And while this is not a question and answer session, we will contact you to follow up if needed. If you are online, when you are recognized, please unmute your microphone or step up. And if you're in the room, please step up to the lectern in the center of the room. Please state your name, address, and relationship to the city. Speak clearly and pause frequently, and limit your comments to 5 minutes. If you're attending virtually and do not respond after your name or phone number is called, or if your connection is lost unexpectedly, the meeting will need to proceed, and you are encouraged to rejoin the meeting if you are able. Personal attacks, obscene language, and derogatory remarks and disruptive behavior will not be permitted. Public comments, written and verbal, are an important aspect of the public process, and the city takes comments seriously. We thank everyone who takes the time this evening to address us. And City Clerk, can you please identify the first person who signed up to speak?
Yes, the first speaker is a virtual attendee, Corby Kassler. Corby made you a panelist, so you should have the option to unmute and can choose to turn your video on, and I will share your slides now.
Oh, Corby, you are still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your help with the slides, Trish. I'm Corby Kassler. I'm the Executive Director of the Downtown Issaquah Association, and I just really wanted to thank you for this time. I want to share with you a summary of what we talked about at our annual meeting with our volunteers, our partners, and our board of directors earlier this year. I can't believe it's April 1st. Can you go to the next slide, Trish? First, a little bit of background, why DIA matters. We are all about creating community. You may not know this, but DIA is run by volunteers, nearly 500 of them, and I am the only staff member. So that tells you how much people care about our community, for them to step up and put the time and commitment they do day in and day out. Not only do we strive to make downtown Issaquah an inclusive, welcome community, but we strengthen our small businesses in large part through arts and culture. Next slide, please. This is why we exist. We are there for our businesses. If they need marketing help, we are there for them. We create a halo for downtown, and by that, I mean, not only do we create economic impact programming, but we also create a halo of life. That's an important point. Enlivening downtown, creating a halo for our city is as important as driving pedestrian traffic. We do both. Of course, we can't do it without connecting with other organizations and those who love Issaquah as much as we do. And I'll talk about that at the next slide. DIA is a Main Street community, and we're a member of the Washington State program as well as an affiliate of Main Street America. We follow 4 key pillars. This one shows you design. Design is really important to downtown Issaquah because we keep it clean, we keep it beautiful, and our volunteers and partners are all in this together with us. So whether it's through art, painting murals on a building, or putting our flowers on front, or get your calendars out on April 22nd, Earth Day, there is a Keep Issaquah Beautiful Day. And we are partnering with the city and with the Kiwanis and a number of other organizations to do this. We do this every year, and we'll have 3 such events this year. The next slide, please. The second main pillar for Main Street is outreach, and this is how we make things happen, connecting with the right resources, partners, and influencers who help us with our mission. I could name dozens of organizations who work alongside DIA. Here are a few. Issaquah Library, Washington Blues Society, the Arts Commission, City of Issaquah, and county government. Each of them make us all come alive. We couldn't do it without any of them. And so outreach is a critical pillar, and it's driven by a committee of volunteers. Next slide, please. The third pillar, promotion, the numbers really speak for themselves. Imagine how quiet it would be if we didn't have the 942 hours of music, and again, a lot of this has been from grants from our city, 153 bands, 651 musical performers, all along Front Street throughout the year. Even people just driving by get that halo effect of something is happening downtown. It's alive. This is a place where you want to be. Next slide, please. Again, we are all about supporting businesses. Many of them are artists. We had 25 farmer and artisan markets in 2023, 102 creative industry pros who participated in our many programs throughout the year, and 1,738 hours of selling art. This is really phenomenal. And again, everything that comes together has come to you through volunteers. Next slide, please. And this really reflects a few of our volunteers. I wish I could put them all in a collage, but 465 in 2023 and more than almost 8,000 hours. It's really incredible. I don't know how they do it, but you'll see them on weekends, you'll see them after hours. It's just, this shows the love for our community. Next slide, please. Economic vitality. This is the fourth pillar. We really think that this is our mission. This, as well as the halo effect. Eric from Levitate last year said about Vendors on Front, doubling sales in the weekend because of this program. That's really phenomenal. And I can't thank the volunteers enough. But as I said earlier, nothing is more important than helping our businesses thrive, but equally important is a sense of community, creating a place where people want to live, work, and come together. In other words, feel the community of Issaquah. So whether we're building economic vitality or whether we're making the whole city come alive, that's what it's all about. And I thank you right now for all your listening to what I had to say and for putting on your calendars April 22nd. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corby. City Clerk, who is next on our list this evening?
Next, we have Alex Zimmerman.
Yes, and make sure the red light is on, Alex. You have to push a button on the bottom. Push a button.
Yeah, red. I love red color. Maybe I'm stupid. Yeah, my name is Alex Zimmerman, and I first time come to Issaquah speak probably 25 years ago. Yeah. So right now I will probably come again because condition what is we see right now in state and exactly in country, totally terrible. And I live here for 40 years. I'm president of Stand Up America. I have 12 election. I candidate for state governor, U.S. senator, state senator, in another dozen positions. So I stay in politica for all my life. Situation what is we have right now in King Country, absolutely critical. I remember King Country, nice, beautiful city 4 years ago when I come.
Mr. Zimmerman, could I get you to talk about something on our agenda this evening? Not so much the county, but maybe Issaquah related?
Yes, I will talk to you about this. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, I only want to explain who I am. Yeah. And I spoke around from Tacoma to Everett and dozen city more than 4,000 times. Right now, time come to Issaquah. So right now, I want to speak right now what has happened with Issaquah when Bellevue Council approved Amazon 30,000 people, what is will become next year, this year and next year, 30,000. Bellevue have very interesting plan, you know what it mean, for another 20 years, 200,000 people supposed to be come to Bellevue. This reflect everybody. First, it's reflecting Issaquah too, you know what it mean, because what is Bellevue doing right now, to me, look like a pure fascism. You know what it mean with government support corporation. In Chamber of Commerce staying #1. So this is exactly what is I speak everywhere right now. In Mersley Island, Redmond, Kirkland, in Issaquah right now. We need stopping them. We need stopping this Bellevue crook, you know what it mean. What is I call them fascist mafia, you know what it mean, a junta. What is make us life miserable.
Mr. Zimmerman, can you pick something that's on our agenda this evening?
This is in your agenda. When you bring 200,000 people in Bellevue, Issaquah will be in deep hole. It's very simple. You don't believe this will be touch you?
I don't believe it's one of the items that we're talking about this evening, or that it affects any of our
By law, I can
programs.
speak about everything what is belong to city, and I doing this. Don't interrupt me, please. Because I see interruption everywhere when you start talking about Democrat mafia, junta, what is control us for 40 years under my eyes. I want to explain to you guys how serious problem we have right now in Bellevue. Is this Bellevue will be reflect everybody. When these 200,000 people will become? Probably 10 or 20% come to Issaquah, so price for everything jump like a crazy. Housing, gas, food, everything. So this is exactly what is reflect you. What is I'm seeking? I'm a professional business consultant, top educate. I come to you because I told you, guys, Bellevue need be stopped. Totally, you know what it mean? This a junta, and 90% of people in Bellevue don't vote for them. It's a group what is supported by Chamber of Commerce what doing this, because they make money from this. How you thinking can be 30,000 from Amazon and Bellevue, and nobody will be come to Issaquah, you pay houses $1 million more than before, because they make a ton of money. So you want to interrupt me, this nothing change situation. You will see this for another 2 years. Price for everything in King County go up. Yeah, these people make money. For who? For corporation. It's a pure fascism. And I think Mussolini talked about this 100 years ago, when government support corporation is a classic fascism. So right now you understand what as I come to you, I will come to you again and again. Because situation what is right now is very important. It's a critical important. Everybody who like King County, he like life, what is we have here for last 40 years under my eyes, need stand up. Need stopping this, not matter where is you located, Issaquah, Mersley Island, Bellevue, Kirkland, or Redmond. We all involved in this business. We all will be paid for this. I speak right now to people who listen to me. For this, I support Donald Trump. Trump, America first, USA, because we need a common sense. We need stopping this mafia, democratic mafia, and who don't care about people. I don't have time, for example. I give you next time, for example. See you. Stand up, America. Need bring King Country back to what as I see before 40 years ago. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. City Clerk, who else do we have on our list tonight?
We have Karen Porterfield.
Karen Porterfield, come on up.
Hi, Karen Porterfield. I am a resident of the city of Issaquah, and I live in Tallis. And you have all visited or you live there, so you have appreciated the very long road that it takes to get up to our homes. So as we celebrate Arbor Day and we're looking at spring, I'm here to talk to you about winter and to extend the thanks from myself and our neighbors. We have talked about this, the wonderful work that the city has done to keep our roads and streets open during our bad weather. It's not an easy job. It's very complex, and we made it to work. We made it to the grocery store, and when I was hanging out at the post box and they heard I was coming, the special request was to say to Mayor Hawley and City Administrator Bakowitz, thank you so much for the hard work that you and the city have done. Bad weather doesn't happen on schedule. It typically happens at night and on the weekends, but you were always there. So thank you. We appreciate the hard work you have done.
Thank you for addressing the council, Karen, and we'll make sure that those kind words and compliments are passed on. City Clerk, who else has signed up for comments this evening?
Dave Kapler.
Mr. Kapler.
Good evening, David Kapler, right here, 255 Southeast Andrews Street. I was at the Sustainability Fair all day on Saturday. Great turnout. I was there with the Issaquah Alps and my wife's People for Climate Action group. Very positive reception. The staff working it, the volunteers working were amazing. We had people from Bainbridge Island, Seattle, Renton, Kent, Sammamish, Snoqualmie Valley, and a whole bunch of people from Issaquah. But just the reaction and the positivity from these people from other communities that Issaquah was doing this was one of the high points of the day for me. Leasing of, the city has got a screwball collection of properties all over the city, and a lot of great things have occurred in those. The Trail House, that was when we got the big iced tea grant, when they were doing iced tea, I don't know how many decades ago. That was federal. We got the Rainier Trail. With having the Rainier Trail, we got the structure down there. That but not that it's just that. And then we got another grant for the Trail House that specifically was, emphasizing work with the staff and with the community groups to work the trail stuff. And much of what we had happen in the Mountain Sound Greenway actually got done in the Trail House. Not that we completely invented it, that concept, but we had the staffing and the commitment from the city to really expand that concept and make it a reality. The other kind of thing that's back there with this whole thing is, what are we going to do for City Hall in the future? How are we going to deal with the police and all the rest? And it's not easy, because just the private ownerships that are around and how certain things, public ownerships that are around that are committed are too good to tear down or whatever, and that. And I would hope you would involve the community, through that whole process, and maybe we'll get some good people to come up with some creativity and contribute to that. I will say, some of you might know, my brother owns the property next door. Nobody's ever talked to him. The story goes way back. That building was for sale for months. And so I urged my brother to buy it, since he had a store in downtown Seattle that he was leasing here. He could buy a place for his store. And right after he did it, the city started condemning it. And turned out my brother, by accident or whatever, through friends or whatever, ended up having the same attorney as Skip Rowley. And the city backed off. But anyway, this building's awful nice, tearing it down, to make a new, I don't know what we're going to do. And I don't think got ideas, but we got to involve everybody in it and see what we can do. Because it's obviously the growth in the city is not going to slow down. Just from the sustainability fair, how many people are so proud to be associated with Issaquah that it's pretty obvious. So keep up the good work and keep up the imagination. Thank you.
Former Member Kapler, thank you for your service on this council. That's why you have such a depth of knowledge, and both for you and your wife for the amazing organizations you work with. Just a couple of clarifying comments. This process of untying the Gordian knot, which is our facility inventory, is long. And there will be many opportunities before council makes decisions on what they're going to do. They've received very little information so far, just more of a cleanup of what leasing language should look like, because the decisions for every property are going to reside with them. And it will be interesting, to say the least. So I just would like to put everybody's minds at ease that there are no predetermined decisions until the council has multiple touches on this. So there will be time. Thank you for sharing all of that. City Clerk, is there anyone else signed up or anyone online that's indicating a desire to speak?
No.
Well, thank you, everyone that did speak tonight. We did hear a summary of the work that the Downtown Issaquah Association was carrying on this past year. Also, some lovely compliments and gratitude for Public Works and the winter work that they did on our roads and streets. And also comments on the very successful sustainability fair and desire for the community to be involved in future facility discussions. So thank you all for that. You may also provide written comments at any time to our City Council using the citycouncil@issaquah.gov email address. The next item on our calendar this evening is the consent calendar, and I have a couple of remarks before the consent calendar, but also looking to see, do any committee chairs have anything on there that they need to talk about tonight? Okay. This does relate to an informational item that is on the consent calendar and actually goes to something that one of our community members talked about this evening. And of course, I don't have it printed out, but I think I can find it. Okay. So I was going to make a comment on the item on the consent calendar that has to do with leasing of public properties. And there has been an interest in having a larger discussion on not just leasing, but the relationship building within the city/nonprofit world. And council leadership and I will be meeting relatively soon. We're picking a date right now. And council leadership will provide an update on what that process will look like. I just wanted to say that before we get to it. It's an informational item. There was, the action tonight was just for you to receive it. But just want to say in the background, there are some additional conversations going on to set up a process for maybe some higher level discussions. Okay, I'm going to move on to no committee chairs. Therefore, the consent calendar was distributed to council in advance. If authorized, the items on the consent calendar will be considered together and approved by one motion. Have the payables and payroll been reviewed?
They have.
Thank you. Does any council member desire to remove any item from the consent calendar and consider it under regular business? Not seeing any. Could somebody make a motion? Council President?
I move to approve the consent calendar as distributed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes unanimously, 7-0. The next item of business is typically regular business, but we do not have agenda items this evening. So we'll go to committee and regional reports, and we'll start with Councilmember Joe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple of brief announcements concerning Cascade Water Alliance. The Public Affairs Committee meeting that was scheduled for April 3rd was canceled. The Resource Management Committee will be meeting on April 11th, and the board will be meeting on April 24th. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Joe. Councilmember Hall.
Thanks. Just to say that the next meeting of the Eastside Fire and Rescue Board of Directors is next Thursday, April 11th at 4 p.m. at our usual headquarters on Newport Way. Not a very heavy meeting. We'll be talking, actually, interestingly, we're getting an update at the board level about DEI initiatives at Eastside Fire and Rescue, so that'll be interesting. And then we'll be 3, establishing an ad hoc committee to update the metrics associated with the fire chief's evaluation.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yes, that's right.
Fantastic.
Getting an update on that. That concludes my report.
Fantastic. Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On March 21st, there was a meeting of the Salmon Recovery Council of RIRA 8, which is our watershed. There were only informational items, no decision items. There was one item that I have just asked if Clerk Geezer could distribute to council, which was a presentation from the King County Flood Control District about work going on in Issaquah Creek, specifically current and future flood risk reduction efforts, and then planning that began in 2022 and is going into this year, 2024. And in this year, they are also doing a capital investment strategy. And so I think it is a very large swath around Issaquah Creek going through Issaquah. And so you can see that map and all of the work that's going on in the presentation that will be distributed. And then I have one upcoming meeting. There will be a meeting of the Planning, Development, and Environment Committee of this council here in council chambers tomorrow, April 2nd. We have one item on the agenda, which is local amendments related to wildfire and wildland urban interface code of the state building code. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Ray?
Thank you, Mayor Pauley. The City Council Mobility and Infrastructure Committee will be meeting on Wednesday, April 10th at 6:30 here in council chambers, and the agenda has not yet been set, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Martz?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Sound Cities Association Public Issues Committee will be meeting from 7 till 9 p.m. Wednesday, April 10th, and the agenda has not been released for that meeting yet. The April Services, Safety, and Parks meeting has been canceled, and so the next Services, Safety, and Parks meeting will be on a special date in late May, the 28th, to allow for schedule conflict on the 21st. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Deputy Council President DiMichele.
Thank you, Mayor Pauley. I have no report tonight.
Council President Walsh.
Thank you. Short report. The Puget Sound Regional Council's Growth Management Policy Board meets this Thursday at 10 a.m. and the agenda contains discussion items on climate pollution reduction, the PSC's community solar, and local climate planning. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mayor's report. There will be an executive session this evening to discuss collective bargaining per RCW 42.3.140(4). Next item, the Arts Washington Creative District Capital Grant. So very excited that included on tonight's consent calendar was the Issaquah Creative District was awarded a capital grant in the amount of $112,500 from ArtsWA, the Washington State Arts Commission. This grant will support the integration of public art into the city's senior center and pedestrian park plaza capital projects. The Issaquah Arts Commission has selected former Issaquah resident and nationally recognized public artist June Sakaguchi. Okay, I didn't read this earlier. June and I, our kids all went to school together. So I'm not sure how many of you know June, but she has been around here for ages. That is so exciting. Okay, good. June, for the design of the artwork in the plazas. The artist is designing multiple sculptural pieces that take their inspiration from the Western red cedar. And she will work with the arts program, parks planning, and Mithune, our consultant, to integrate the artworks throughout the plaza designs. You've already heard about the Sustainability Fair. Over the weekend, the city held its second annual Sustainability Fair at Pickering Barn. This event kicked off Earth Month celebrations by providing resources, products, and activities centered around sustainability and climate. We had an incredible set of vendors, with over 80 throughout the barn and the parking lot. This year, we paired the Sustainability Fair with a spring preview for our farmers market, which was well received by the community. Here are a few of the unique opportunities that we offered this year. An electric vehicle display, courtesy of Evergreen Ford Chevrolet. A clothing swap and community art project hosted by students from Gibson Neck High School. A kokanee catapult from Trout Unlimited. Tree giveaway, courtesy of 300 Trees. And a Lego activity, Build a Resiliency Hub. We set a zero waste goal working with each of our vendors to help them find packaging that was compatible and recyclable. Ridwell was on site to collect plastic film and multi-layer plastics. Our cup worked with our food vendors to provide reusable cups and food boats, which were collected at the event and will be washed and reused. We achieved nearly 80% waste diversion rate, not including what was diverted thanks to Ridwell and RCUP. A huge thank you to our community vendors and sponsors for making this event a success. We look forward to bringing it back again next year, and we are excited to try out RCUP again at some other community events throughout the year. There is so much to do in Issaquah during the month of April to celebrate Earth Month. There will be tree plantings, litter cleanups, and salmon send-offs. To learn more, visit the Issaquah website, issaquah.gov/earthmonth. There is a Young Artist and Authors National Competition. The city is looking for some of our younger community members to showcase their creativity by submitting pieces for Young Artist and Authors Showcase, YAS, a national competition. YAS is an annual art contest that encourages youth worldwide to express the mission of Sister Cities International through original artwork, literature, poetry, photography, and music. This year's theme is Climatescape, Resilient Cities for Tomorrow's Climate. Submissions need to fall in one of 6 categories: classic art, digital art, photography, poetry, writing, or original music. The submission deadline has been extended to April 14th, and to learn more, you can visit issaquah.gov/youth showcase. Also, the Downtown Issaquah Association will be doing the Farm Fresh Market featuring Ayala Farms, and it will run Saturdays from March 23rd to April 27th. It will be starting at 9 a.m. at the historic Shell Station. Locals and visitors can take advantage of the seasonal flowers and support local farmers. And for more information, please visit Downtown Issaquah's website. And again, the last item was just a thank you and appreciation to our city clerk. But we did most of the wordy part of that at the beginning, but congratulations, Tisha, again. Ooh. That concludes the mayor's report. Are there items for good of the order? Deputy Council President?
Just a note that June Sakaguchi was arts commissioner for a number of years, and I got to serve with her, and I have a piece of her art in my house. Yes, so I'm really thrilled to hear that she's going to take on that role. She's not only regionally but nationally recognized. Yeah, fantastic artist.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I agree. I'm really excited. Council President.
Thank you. Just a note for the council, you may have seen an email cancellation for the May 4th retreat. So that's typically our retreat on a Saturday. We kind of looked at all of our calendars and realized that we could talk about that item at the Committee of the Whole that week. And so we're freeing up a Saturday for you. So just, yes, there you go. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that stuff was still going to be talked about. The strategic plan task force won't be ready for some of the things that would be talked about there, but we're going to keep the budget priority setting retreat on July 27th. So all of the topics will be covered between 2 different meetings, but one less Saturday. That's it.
Any other items for good of the order? Councilmember Joe.
Thank you. I know a lot has been said about the sustainability fair. Just 2 brief items. Cascade Water Alliance had a table at the event, and they were talking about water conservation and items that we can do for our environment, and I thought that was great that they were participating. The other item's a little bit different. I walked to the far end of the parking lot when I was there, and a young man who's probably in 6th grade started talking to me about the Adopt a Stormwater program, a storm drain program, excuse me, and how he has a storm drain that he's adopted. He keeps it clean to make sure that the streets don't flood. Told me all about the program, and it was just a great conversation with a young person that cares about our city, wants to make sure that the streets don't flood. I would encourage anyone else out there that has a young son or daughter that wants to get involved to adopt a storm drain. It's a great way to make sure that you're contributing to the community and keeping your basement free of flood water. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Joe. Any other comments for good of the order? Not seeing any, I'll just talk about a couple of upcoming meetings. April 8th, Committee of the Whole meeting was rescheduled to Monday, April 29th. The April 15th regular City Council meeting has a couple of anticipated agenda items. The end of 2024 legislative session report, a public hearing on City Hall Northwest surplus property, a public hearing on Central Issaquah's Pioneer Program for the multifamily tax exemption. Next item on tonight's agenda is the executive session. We will be discussing collective bargaining per RCW 42.30.140(4). The item is estimated to take 10 minutes. No action is anticipated to follow an open section. Please note that executive sessions are closed to the public, and we will now be recessing at 7:55.